Hello, peoples of the tube, and welcome to, honestly, a month of filler. It's a month of filler because Christmas is rapidly approaching, much as we'd like it not to, and my plan for this year, as I did last year, is to do a Christmas week. But I need to make a Christmas week. You might have noticed that my videos the last like 5 years have been very lazy. I've been a bit lazy with the videos of late, of recent and even not so recent times. So I need to get enough time to make. I've got a list this long of videos I'm thinking of making. Whether I make all of those remains to be seen, but I want to do at least like 7 videos. So anyway, to give myself time to do that, the next 4, maybe 5 weeks, I've forgotten how many. All the next Thursday videos from today up to the last Thursday video before Christmas week starts, and it might start on Monday Christmas week, but it might not. I'm not going to time myself into when. I'm not going to give you a date. Just keep an eye out for it. Anyway, they're all going to be, well, they're all going to be the same video basically, but different. The same but different. Here's what we're doing, right? Skype's making noises. Anyway, here's what we're doing. So Christmas is coming, and at Christmas all the nice children get presents. That's this guy, of course. I am all the nice children. I am the only nice children. That's not true. But let us take some time to think about. Why my eyes are doing that. Let us take some time to think about the children who do not get presents. That's right, the naughty children. I came across, while having a clear out, a book that I read many, many years ago. I got this book. Let's see the status. It was in this condition when I got it, I should add. I take very good care of my books. It is complete with repair, put in by me. I did that. I fixed it because the cover was coming off. No, it isn't. We're sellotape back. Anyway, this book is called A Second Book of Naughty Children. And this is a weird thing to make a video about, you might think. No, this is for the next month or so. All my videos, I'm going to read you a story. It's Ohmydinosare Story Corner. Ohmydinosare Story Corner. Do these stories hold up to my memory of when I read them when I was about 8? Probably not. But we're going to read them anyway. This is going to be my new contingency video for weeks when I've got nothing to do. There are 17 of these, so we're only going to get through the first like 4 or 5. And I'll keep the rest for another time, and you'll be like, yay, I can't wait for the next one. You won't. But, tough. I've read the first one in advance. They're not very long. So, that's something at least. And they won't all come with this massive prologue, where I ramble about what the contents of the video is. It's by Ian Blyton, as is the majority of the books that I read, as are the majority of the books that I read at that age. She's written a lot of things, and I've read most of them. But this one, not one of her more well-known stories, but let us delve in to our first story, The Boy Who Broke His Promises. That's a really seasonally inappropriate title card. Never mind. The Boy Who Broke His Promises. Albert was the boy who broke his promises. The end. No, unfortunately not. He was such a nice boy to look at. His eyes were so bright, and his smile so merry. And yet nobody could trust him. I'll do my homework as soon as I finish my tea, he promised his mother each day. But after tea, he ran off to play and forgot all about his homework. I mean, I think you can probably already work out where the story is going. This is quite predictable. "I'll never bite my nails again," he promised his teacher, when she said how dreadful his bitten nails were. Feelings. But the very next minute, his fingers were in his mouth and he was nibbling his poor, ugly nails. Don't you? They're not that bad. "I'll put away all my toys and not leave one out," he told his aunt when she came to look after him one day. But he forgot and his promise was broken. Although, if you think about it, he worded that quite carefully. He didn't leave one toy out. He left all the toys out. So technically he didn't break that promise. But never mind. "Albert, promises are made to be kept and not to be broken," his mother said. "What is the use of making promises you never keep?" It's, Detectives 8 coming soon. Avery's Sad Day 2 coming soon. I feel like this was written for me. Or for sewage. "People will not trust you." "Oh, but I always mean to keep my promises," said Albert. It actually says Albert. It's a typo. "But I forget." His mother was worried. This is taking us a really long time. We're still only on the first page. His mother was worried. She didn't want him to grow up into somebody that could not be trusted to keep his word. So she told his great aunt, and Aunt Jenkins nodded her snow white head. She looked just like Snow White from the Disney movie. "Send him to me for a few days," she said. "I'll cure him for you." So Albert's bag was packed and he set off in the bus to Aunt Jenkins. He had never been to her house before, but he knew her very well because she often came to his mother's house. This is top-notch literature, this isn't it? And she always brought him a present. Great Aunt Jenkins was pleased to see him. She took him upstairs to his little bedroom. Oh, hello? Yep, sorry, the camera bugged out there. She took him upstairs to his little bedroom. It was very cozy. "I hope you'll try and keep your room tidy for me," she said. "Oh yes, I promise it will always be as neat as can be." Now, I just want to point out another quite carefully worded lie. As neat as can be. That seems quite subjective to me. Said Albert. He didn't say that, but I just said, obviously. But as soon as Great Aunt had gone out of the room, he tipped his bag up, and out fell everything at once. And there Albert left him. He just simply couldn't be trusted to keep his word about anything. Yeah, we get it. He went downstairs. "What's for tea, Great Aunt?" he said. "Well, how would you like buns with jam and cream inside? And chocolate cake with walnuts on top?" asked Great Aunt. Her name's just Great Aunt now. "Ooh," said Albert. "Do let's." "Very well, I'll get them," said Great Aunt. So Albert longed and longed for tea time and rushed into the dining room when the tea bell went. But do you know, there was only bread and butter and plain biscuits on the table. No buns and no cake at all. "Oh, Great Aunt, where are the jammy buns and cream and the chocolate cake with walnuts that you promised?" asked Albert. "Dear me, I quite forgot about them," said Great Aunt. "But Great Aunt, you promised, and promises shouldn't be broken," said Albert, almost crying. What a wimp! "That's so," said the old lady. "But still, you promised to keep your room neat for me, Albert, and it is in a dreadful mess, so as you broke your promise, perhaps you wouldn't mind me breaking mine. Now eat up your bread and butter." And I'm just going to point this out. We're just over 2 pages in to this 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-page story. You know, you already know the plot now, but this is it. This is just it for the rest of the story. This on loop. So I hope you're enjoying this premise, because We're only about a quarter of the way through. Great aunt, may I stay up till 8 o'clock tonight? Said Albert, who usually went to bed at 7 because he's a nerd. I probably should. That's a bit unfair. I do know people have like stupidly early bedtimes, so I shouldn't be too cruel. But that's 7 o'clock. Oh, staying up till 8. What a treat! No, it's not. It's rubbish. Try harder. Yes, if you like, promised Great Aunt. It will be a treat for you. Get my scissors after tea, Albert, and go and snip all the dead flowers off in the front garden for me, will you? There are such a lot, and I shall be too busy to do them today. Yes, I will, Great Aunt, promised Albert. But after tea, he wandered down to the field at the bottom of the garden and played at Red Indians there, crawling in and out of the hedge and yelling loudly whenever he saw the dog next door. The dog was supposed to be an enemy Indian. Oh, dear. Oh, bother, he said to himself when he remembered that he had said he would snip off the dead flowers for Great Aunt Jenkins. It's a nuisance to stop my play. I'll do Great Aunt's job tomorrow. And it just says, I'll do Aunt's job tomorrow. Make up your mind. What is her name? Gosh darn. Suddenly the bell rang to call him indoors. Albert went. Great Aunt was upstairs. Bedtime, she called. Hurry up, because I have to go out soon and I want you to be in bed first. Where's she going? She's like 70. What's she doing at that time of the night? But Great Aunt, you promised I could stay up till 8 o'clock, said Albert. It's only 7. Oh well, I've changed my mind, said Great Aunt, and you changed yours about snipping off the dead flowers for me. This book is falling apart in my hands. So that makes us even. You broke your promise, and I broke mine. Hurry now and don't look so miserable. I'll give you a sweet orange when you're in bed. Oh! Remember to wash yourself well, won't you? I have run the water in the bath. Yes, Great Aunt, said Albert gloomily. And he got undressed. He got into the nice hot bath, but he didn't bother about washing. What's the point in getting into a bath if you're not going to wash? The amount of effort in drying yourself is more than the amount of effort in actually cleaning yourself. Idiot! Where was I? And suddenly he heard his Great Aunt's voice from downstairs. Are you in bed yet? Nearly! Shouted Albert, who was actually in the bath, and the bath is nearly the bed, so he's not lying. Jumping out of the bath and dragging on his pyjamas without drying himself. Oh, well, I mean, there we go. That answers my earlier problem with his laziness. He brushed his hair and jumped into bed. His Great Aunt came in. Have you brought my nice, juicy orange that you promised me? Asked Albert. Oh, bother, no I haven't, said Great Aunt. Never mind, you can have it tomorrow. But you promised I could have it now, said Albert. He's really whiny, isn't he? For such a brat, he is very, very whiny. It should be called The Really Whiny Boy. That would be just as good a title. Where was I? Said Albert, thinking that really Great Aunt couldn't be trusted at all. Well, you promised to wash yourself well in the bath, and as far as I can see, your face is still as dirty as when I left you, and your hands are quite black. That's racist, said Great Aunt. I expect if I look at your knees, they would be just as bad as my knee. Hermione. So you can't blame me if I don't keep my promises, Albert. Perhaps I should be a bit more particular about it if you kept yours. This is... How much more of this is there? We're nearly done. Okay, we're about halfway through it, actually. This is so repetitive! You get it! We get it already! We don't need like so much just back and forth with the same thing. Oh dear. The next day was just as bad, of course. Great Aunt promised all sorts of wonderful things, and Albert felt most excited when he heard them. There's a circus coming this afternoon, said his Great Aunt. We might go to see it. I think it is in the field nearby. Oh, and what would you like for dinner? Would you like an ice cream pudding? Oh yes, said Albert, who liked ice cream better than anything else. And literally anything. Did he like his parents? No. Only ice cream pudding. Does he like, you know, does he like breathing? No! If he had the choice between breathing and ice cream pudding! So there. And great aunt, would you get out that lovely bow and arrows that belonged to great uncle years ago? That's Aunt Jenkins' husband years ago, who's his great uncle, obviously. I'd love to play with the bow, not the arrows, just the bow. He wants it, like, I think, a musical instrument, I guess. Yes, I'll get it out this morning, said great aunt. That's a promise. That's the first time that one of these things has actually been a promise. It's saying you're going to do something and promising you're going to do something, not quite the same thing. This is the first actual promise of the story, The Boy Who Broke His Promises, and it's not the boy that made the promise. Well, it may have been a promise. Yeah, it was a promise. It definitively was a promise. It may have been a promise, but Great Aunt Jenkins didn't keep it. When Albert went to ask for the bow and arrows, she was busy cooking in the kitchen. Go away, dear, I'm busy, she said. She did this with her hand, obviously. I haven't bothered about the bow this morning. I don't know where it is. But, Great Aunt, you did promise, cried Albert. And who promised to make his bed this morning and didn't, said Great Aunt. And who promised to fetch me the eggs from the hen house and didn't? And who promised to fill the bird bath with water and didn't? This seems like overkill. It's just me, or does this seem like a bit much? Albert went red. Had he really made all those promises and broken them? Well, then he really couldn't blame Great Aunt for doing as he did. He went out without another word. At dinner time, he ate his meat and potatoes and gravy eagerly, hoping that the ice cream pudding would be very large indeed. Yeah. I mean, this is the only thing he actually cares about in the world. It's his favourite thing of all time, more so than, you know, his own leg. He prefers ice cream pudding to his leg. I mean, you know, his leg isn't great, to be honest. It's a pretty... He seems a bit of a wimp. It's probably got, like, weedy stick legs. But ice cream pudding, nothing weedy about that. No. I don't know why I'm so fixated on ice cream pudding. You know what? I could go in for some right now. Ice cream pudding. I want ice cream pudding. But do you know, there was only a small rice pudding and nothing else. Great Aunt, you've broken your promise again, cried Albert. You said we'd have ice cream pudding. Did I really? Said Great Aunt. Oh well, I forgot. I suppose you forgot to change your shoes when you came in, Albert. You promised you would change them, but I see there's mud on the carpet. And I believe you said you would wash your hands. Well, you forgot and I forgot, so we won't blame each other, shall we? I don't know if she was quite as passive-aggressive with him as I am being. I'm finding him really grating. This is the second time I've read this story this week, and I hate this kid already. We're nearly done, though. We're 20 minutes in, we're nearly done. Albert went red. He ate his rice pudding without a word. All the time he ate it, he was thinking about the circus. Would Great Aunt keep her promise about that? He hardly dared to ask her. If only she would. Well, she didn't. When Albert went to remind her at 2:30, she was in her bedroom having a rest in her bed. She was quite cross at being disturbed. Circus? Who said anything about a circus? She cried. I may have promised to take you this morning, but I've changed my mind this afternoon. I'm tired and I want to rest. Go away. But Great Aunt, you really did promise. It's getting worse. It's getting worse. He went from the boy who broke his promises to just the whiniest boy, said Albert, and burst into tears. Come here, Albert, said Great Aunt, in a funny sort of voice. Come here, Albert. No, stay away. Stay away from her, Albert. So Albert went and stood behind her. Beside her, even. Behind her. She's lying down. Okay. Albert, do you like me when I break my promises? Said Great Aunt. Do you trust me anymore? No, said Albert. I don't feel as if I do trust you, Great Aunt. And I don't like you at all when you break your word. It makes me feel so disappointed and angry. Well, you know, Albert, I've just been doing it to show you what people think of you and feel about you. The you is italicized, so I'm assuming it's you. Why does everyone... I'm trying to read a story. Go away. Where was I? When you keep promising things and forgetting them, said Great Aunt. It's horrid. Will you be quiet? It's horrid, isn't it? It's quite enough to make people cry and feel cross. That is how you make people feel too, when you break your promises, Albert. Yeah, Albert. Screw you. Great Aunt, I really will try now to keep my promises. All of them, promised Albert. I don't know how horrid I didn't know how horrid I made people feel when I broke them. I won't do it again. Well, you'll find it difficult at first, said Great Aunt. I know I will. But you must keep on trying. Now, will you promise me to weed that untidy bit of garden this afternoon and to wash your hands for tea and change your muddy shoes? Yes, Great Aunt, said Albert. And I will promise you jammy, creamy buns for tea again and chocolate cake with walnuts and the circus tonight, said Great Aunt. We will see how you manage to keep your promises. Screw that, said Albert. I don't want any of those. I just want ice cream pudding. He didn't really say that. Yes, no, I've said that already. Well, Albert weeded the garden and washed his hands and changed his shoes, and sure enough there were jammy, creamy buns for tea and chocolate cake. And they went to the circus that night. It was lovely. Albert kept his promises the next day too. Oh, I've got great news for you guys. Great news. There was ice cream pudding for dinner. Hooray! I love it. It's the only thing he likes in life. The only thing. This is his favourite, you know? And he was allowed to play with the wonderful bow and arrows all morning. Not just the bow. The arrows as well. He got more than he ever dreamed. He went to bed at 8 o'clock for a treat. And had a juicy orange. He was quite sorry to go home, but dear me how surprised his mother was to find Albert so changed. If he said he would do a thing, he did it. If he promised he wouldn't, guess what, right? He didn't. Why, Albert, I really believe you are to be trusted after all, said his mother. And so he was, but he never told her how Great Aunt Jenkins had cured him. He was rather ashamed of that. Oh, this is garbage. I'm sure you keep your promises, but if you know anyone who doesn't, send them along to Great Aunt Jenkins. This book, by the way, was published in 1947, 70 years ago. I think it's safe to say Great Aunt Jenkins is dead. But send them to her anyway. She'll soon cure them with her spooky ghost ways. Whoa, no! That was The Boy Who Broke His Promises. Come back next week for another half-hour video of me reading Enid Blyton. Next week's one is going to be called Matilda Screams the House Down. And it is shorter. It is shorter than that. So yay! Bring on next week, and the week after, and the week after. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.
Tell me a story, oh ho ho, it's nearly Christmas, oh ho ho, it's a story, oh ho ho, I don't like this, oh ho ho, that is what Sue said when he watched it, oh ho ho.
I really regret this decision, but it's all I've got, the only idea I've got for this month. If I think of anything better, we'll scrap that, but I think that was fun. That was good banter. Good book banter. Bye.